in 200 fragments of the inscription. This is one of the fragments. This is the beginning of the inscription.
And this is where Diogenes tries to explain why he put up the wall in the first place.
Yes, he's saying that if there were one or two persons who are lost, he could educate them personally. But
right.
There are many people, so he decided to put up the stone.
Right, so if there were just one or two people who didn't know how to be happy, he'd go and talk to them, but because there are so many, the best way to help them is to actually put up a wall in the middle of the town.
That's right. That's the explanation he gives here in this fragment.
What a lovely thing to do. So
Diogenes was acting on a crucial idea in Epicurus, that in order to live wisely, it isn't enough just to read a philosophical argument once or twice. We need constant reminders of it, or we'll forget. When we're encouraged to go shopping by bright lights and inviting displays, we're quickly liable to lose sight of our true desires. So we have to counteract the influence of advertising by creating advertisements which say what we really do need. And that's why Diogenes put up his wall.
And I think they collapsed. The store collapsed then.
What is this here?
This is another very fascinating fragment.
The massive limestone wall originally stood right next to the marketplace of the town. Inhabitants shopping in the boutiques of Oinoanda were warned to expect little happiness from the activity.
Hedone, happiness.
Luxurious food and drinks, says one fragment, in no way protect you from harm.
200 stones. They are spread around.
Wealth beyond what is natural is no more use than an overflowing container. Real value is generated not by theatres and baths and perfumes and ointments, but by philosophy.
The doctrines of Epicuro.
The wall may have crumbled into ruin, but movingly, the ideas inscribed on it retain their life and their relevance.
And it strikes me as a real paradox, really, that you would have had where people are going shopping, they're sort of carrying their shopping, and then on the wall you've got these reminders that shopping is not necessarily going to make you happy.
Yes, the letters of the inscription were red, so everyone could see them.
Oh, right, so it was all written in red?
In red, yes.
So you really could have seen it. I mean, you could have been at the other side of the marketplace.
Of course.
And you would have seen that there was this basically kind of advertisement almost for Epicureanism on the wall. It must have been a beautiful spot. I mean, to have not only philosophy enlightening you, but also a fantastic view onto the surrounding countryside.
Yes.
I can imagine it would have been easy to be wise. Not easy, but easier to be wise here. I would have done less shopping if I had this wall and this surrounding. It's a pity they didn't do it more, and that they don't do it today. I think it's a lovely idea.
Yes.
Wall philosophy.
Steve, who's creative, is going to take you.
If Epicurus and his followers had been alive today, they wouldn't have been sniffy about advertising. They would have enlisted it for their own ends, and for the same reason that Diogenes built his wall, to counter the constant inducements to go shopping, with some equally visible inducements to live philosophically.
The first ideas were basically just kind of dry and ironic kind of statements like, shop your blues away.
Right.
I've come to the kind of place where Epicureans might have turned, the offices of the advertising agency St. Luke's, to get ideas for creating some modern public reminders of how to live wisely. The first idea their creative team came up with was a sarcastic campaign satirizing the materialistic messages of most ads.
Yeah.
It is really powerful, and certainly in production terms it takes a number of difficult... It's very, very cheap.
And then even a bit more challenging, be happy with shopping, TV and a yearly holiday.
Right, I love that. That really does sum it all up, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then finally it just culminated, I think, in this thought, which I thought was the strongest, which was fill that void in your life with the product.
Yeah, and you'd have sort of shops advertising, shops selling these kind of products, and then this kind of stark reminder that perhaps it's not really going to fill any void. That's brilliant. What else did you find?
Probably the most obvious idea was to just take kind of luxury items and goods and just somehow kind of undermine them or show them for being kind of, a bit shallow or a bit kind of, empty inside. Kind of the best example of that, I thought, it was something like this, just taking, a lovely image of a beautiful house and kind of just using the language of kind of advertising, the caveats, kind of batteries not included, and just changing it to happiness not included.
Right, no, I really like that. I mean, in a way that says it all, doesn't it? It says, because it keeps that subtlety of Epicureanism, which is, you could be happy in a house like that, but it's not included.
Yeah.
And I think that's the subtlety. It's not saying you won't be happy in that, which would be sort of Marxism.
Yeah.
It's just saying it's not included, so you better watch out before you spend all your energies trying to get this house.
Unfortunately, philosophers have rarely had much money for advertising campaigns. But imagine a world where instead of being surrounded by adverts selling you watches, cars or fancy holidays, these ads reminded you of how important it is to value friends, to escape the rat race or reflect on your problems, and didn't just use these genuinely nice things to sell you aftershave or aperitifs. It's hard to know whether the people of Oinoanda discovered what they did need and ceased buying what they didn't because of the giant advertisement in their midst. But Epicurus' central message seems, if anything, more relevant to today's consumer society than it did to his own. And there's no reason to believe that happiness is any more included in the many more things we can buy. Of course, putting up one poster in the Trafford Centre in Manchester couldn't on its own turn back the tide of consumerism. And although shoppers seemed interested in what my ad was trying to say, I didn't see much evidence of people stopping shopping. But the fact remains, we're horribly confused about what could make us happy. If we really knew what we needed, there are few things we'd be desperate to buy.
Epicurus makes us think very carefully about the merits of our own society. Of course, these societies are enormously wealthy. We can buy almost anything we want in a place like this, full of colourful shops selling wonderfully well-produced goods. And yet, what Epicurus wants us to think is, do places like this really provide us with the key ingredients of happiness? And he thought, and I think he was right, that they don't. Happiness may be difficult to attain, Epicurus admitted that, but he insisted that the obstacles are not primarily financial.